Hello everyone, and welcome to another garden chat. I'm Allison with Green Goddess Plants and Seeds. So the wheel has turned, the wheel of the year has turned, and it is the first day of spring. So happy first day of spring, happy Ostara. So I just thought I'd give you guys a view of what's going on. A few things we're doing today. One of them is going to be planting tomato seeds, but I just wanted to give you a view of what the weather's been doing. We've had some warmer temperatures this past week, above freezing. So the snow is starting to melt, although we do have quite a bit of snow, but it is starting to melt, and there's been other signs of spring. We've seen geese returning already, which seems very early, but you know, whatever, they must be ready if the geese are returning. So I'll just, we've been getting the greenhouse ready and the hoop house ready. Lots of things to get going here, so we'll just give you a peek of what's going on. All right, so as you can see, we still have quite a bit of snow on the ground, but yesterday, Glenn and Corey were out here clearing the snow away from the hoop house. Our plan is to hopefully get it covered within the next couple of weeks so that we can actually start growing some stuff in it. So, but as you can see, we had quite a lot of snow, and Glenn said yesterday while they were out here clearing the snow, they could actually hear and see the snow just suddenly collapse. So it was probably a good 6 to 8 inches higher out here prior to yesterday. But things are starting to melt, and that's always a good sign. That is always a good sign. Oh, and this is little Sidekick. He was a kitten from last summer that was fortunate enough to come into the house for the winter. Alright, so I'm just walking out to the bee yard, although we can't actually get into the bee yard yet because of all the snow. So you can see it's just plugged with snow. Like, this is how much snow we've had. Hey, it's just so tall and so much. Like, they came out here with the snow blower, but they'll have to have another run at it today. So that's the bee yard covered in snow still. All right, so this is the greenhouse. The shelves aren't quite, they're almost finished, but not quite. Just a little bit left to go on them. And then maybe we can start putting some plant trays out here, at least during the daytime anyway. Because the living room is going to get filled pretty quickly with plant trays after today. Hey everyone, so welcome to the kitchen. So today I am starting my tomato seeds. So I won't be doing them all today, but I'm going to get some of them going. Probably all of this week and next week we'll be starting the tomatoes. This is the first year that I am doing pre-orders for my tomato plants. So thank you to everyone who's already placed a pre-order. I am so grateful for, sorry about that, my phone was slipping. I'm so grateful for everyone who has shown support and is willing to support a home-based business like mine. So thank you so much. If you're not familiar with me, my mandate is heirloom and open pollinated tomatoes. So basically I make a point of growing some the unique ones, you know, the unique open pollinated and the heirlooms, the ones that you're not going to find at Walmart or any other you know, average garden center. You know things like Double Rich or Rutgers or Brad's Atomic Grape, things like that you won't find. So so some people want to know what an heirloom is. Now, there isn't a standard definition of what an heirloom plant is. Lots of sort of different companies, seed companies, will kind of come up with their own definition of what that means. Generally, at least for me, to me an heirloom is a tomato plant or any other type of plant that's one, got a history, a documented history, or a reliably backstory to it. It should probably have been around for at least 50 years, if not more, depending on, some companies say, I think Seed Savers Exchange, for them it has to be around for 30 years. So that, in that sense, there's no sort of standardized definition of how to classify an heirloom, but that is kind of my focus. So is those ones that are heirlooms, but also the unique open pollinated. And open pollinated simply means that you can save the seed and it will grow true from that seed. So a hybrid is one where you take two plants, you cross it, and you grow out the resulting seed. In order to continue that hybrid, you have to continue that crossing in order to get more seed for that. So with an open pollinated variety, you don't need to do that. So, and there's lots of wonderful, unique open pollinated new varieties that are coming out, all the time. And so if you've never tried, a unique tomato, I encourage you to do that, because there are literally thousands upon thousands of different tomato varieties out there, and new ones coming out on the market every year. So, if your average, if you prefer just that traditional standard red tomato, well, there's lots of different beautiful, wonderful red tomatoes out there, as well as all sorts of wonderful other colors. So today I'm starting with mostly the canning varieties that I'm going to be offering for sale, but the other one that I'm going to be starting today is the Brad's Atomic Grape, which is a cherry tomato. Most tomato seeds will come up fairly quickly. Usually within 5 to 7 days, you should see something coming up if you're starting from seed. There are exceptions to that, and I noticed last year I grew Brad's Atomic Grape for the first time, and I did notice that this variety took a long time to come up. I think it had to be at least minimum 2 weeks, if it wasn't longer, before I saw any signs of life for it. So that's why I'm starting this one a little bit earlier than a lot of the other ones, just because I know now it takes a long time to come up. And I think there was another variety that I grew last year that was like that, and the seed didn't come up, and so I planted more, and then the seed still didn't come up, and I thought, oh, I've got some bad seed or something. So I planted more just to see if anything would come up, and then, oh my God, boom, all of the seed that I planted came up. So I was just inundated with this one particular variety. I didn't know what to do with it. I had I think 20 plants for it or something. So anyway, so Brad's Atomic Grape. So I'm going to use my cheat notes for the varieties, just so you know what I'm planting. So Brad's Atomic Grape, this was developed by Wellbore Farms. They have some really cool varieties. If you go to their website and check it out, they are amazing. It is the elongated cherry, so more like a grape cherry with a little pointy end on it. The color is just phenomenal. Oh my God. The fruits are actually multicolored. So they have green, they have purple, they have blue in them. They are very sweet. I found that even when they're a little bit underripe, because I know I picked a few that I wasn't quite sure if they were ripe or not, but they were definitely sweet. Oh my goodness. I know this is one I did have a hard time telling when it was actually ripe, but I did notice that the really ripe ones do tend to turn sort of a lighter shade of green with the pink and purple in it, or the purple and blue in it. And two, if you're growing a green when ripe tomato, the best way to tell when it's ripe is by feel. If it feels hard like an unripe tomato, then it's unripe. But if it has a little bit of a give to it, the way a ripe tomato does, then you know it's ripe. Anyway, so Brad's Atomic Grape, it is supposed to be crack resistant, And it is indeterminate, and it has a maturity day, 75 days for maturity. So now I don't have a lot of seed left for this variety, so I'm going to be saving seed for this for myself this summer. So I'm just going to pour the seed out. Oh, there's still some in there. Come on. Doesn't want to all come out for me here. And we'll just get these. So again, I am multi-sowing these. The way I did with a lot of my other seeds, like the tomato, like the onion seeds and the pepper seeds, I multi-sowed. So I'm doing the same thing with these ones. Mainly because of our lack of space that we have. Oh, come on. These seeds don't want to come out. I guess they don't want to be planted. So Glenn is very busy out in the greenhouse finishing up those shelves. There we go. And there's Brad's atomic grape. So hopefully we'll be able to put a lot of this stuff out there in the next week or two. I just need to make a couple more tags here. Yeah, everything is just starting to really pick up. Now that the snow is finally starting to melt, we've got so much snow. There we go. Here's my tags. Like, it's just, we've had some really good weather the last 3 or 4 days where it's been above freezing, like maybe about 4 or 5 degrees Celsius. So the snow is melting. It's slow, but it's going. We've seen geese. We've heard geese. So the season's definitely starting to pick up. And of course, today's the first day of spring, so it's all going to start warming up for sure from now on in as well. I mean, we can still get some colder weather. We can still get a bit of snow, but for the most part, we are starting to generally warm up. So that's a good thing. Okay, so the next, I'm just going to go very quickly over the varieties I'm going to start today. So the next one that I'm going to be doing is the Beaver Lodge Slicer. So this is a Canadian variety bred at the Beaver Lodge Research Center in Alberta. It is a determinate compact plant. Maturity date is 54 days. And the description says small 2-inch fruit, red fruit, but I've grown this variety and I've had big slicers come off of it. So, but it is a very good versatile multi-purpose tomato, good for prairie gardens. And the next one we have is the well-known Bonnie Best tomato. So Bonnie Best is an old canning variety that was introduced in 1908 by the Walter P. Stokes Seed House. And it was and still is a very well-respected canning variety. So it is indeterminate plant, and the maturity dates are 75 days. So the difference between determinate and indeterminate, indeterminate plants will just keep growing. They'll grow indefinitely until a frost kills them or disease kills them. Determinate plants will only grow to a certain height, and they will generally set all their fruit at once. Not always, but for the most part, the determinate varieties their fruit will set to mature all at once, or within a shorter period of time. So that's, whoops, that's Bonnie Best. Okay, next we have Centennial Rocket. Now I'm using saved seed for the Centennial Rocket. This is another Canadian variety developed in Alberta, and it is another. It's kind of like a large cherry tomato almost. Like it's kind of a weird size. It's definitely too big to be a cherry, but too small to be a slicer. So it's kind of one of those. I'm never quite sure what to classify it as. So I kind of went with, I don't know, small slicer is what I often refer to it as, but it's another determinate variety, 50 days maturity rate, and this one is very early. It's usually the first one in my garden to set, or to at least flower and set fruit. So Centennial Rocket, Next we have the beefsteak. Of course, this is the classic beefsteak from Baker Creek. It is an old-time variety. It's indeterminate, 75 days. Good, nice, big, meaty fruit. Excellent for canning and fresh eating, of course. All right, next up is the Double Rich. So this is from Tomato Fest. Double Rich was developed in 1953. It is noted for containing twice the amount of vitamin C as other tomatoes. It is bushy, indeterminate plants, but they're kind of bushy. And the maturity rate is 70 days for the Double Rich. Next we have the Manitoba. Manitoba is another Canadian prairie variety. These ones are from Heritage Harvest. Manitoba, it was developed at the Modern Research Station in Modern Manitoba, and it truly is a tried and true prairie favorite for gardeners in Saskatchewan and the Canadian prairies. It's great for canning and fresh salad. It's a good all-round, all-purpose tomato. It's a determinate plant, and its maturity days are 65 days. And then we have Matchless Austin strain. It's also known as Quarter Century, and this was developed by the Burpee Seed Company, and it was released in 1889. It produces dark orange red fruit that is mildly acidic and lightly sweet, and it has a very good classic tomato taste and is great for canning, sandwiches, and salads. It is a determinate variety with a maturity days of 80 days. Okay, and then we'll flip the page. We have Paragon, Livingston's Paragon. So this was introduced by the Livingston. It was a very good, very well-known seedsman back in the day. This was introduced in 1870 and was noted to be the first perfectly round, firm, smooth tomato ever introduced. It's supposed to have high yields, and it is indeterminate at 80 days. And it's supposed to be, of course, a very good canner. So, and then we have Rutgers, which is a very, very famous, legendary canning tomato from Rutgers University. It was originally introduced in 1934. And it's great in salads and fresh eating, but also unsurpassed for home canning and processing. And it is determinate in 65 days. And the last one we're going to do today is the Santa Clara Canner. And this heirloom originated in Italy, and it became popular in the United States for canning. It produces 8 to 10 ounce red tomatoes. They are sweet and meaty, and they are perfect for canning and fresh eating and making tomato juice. It is indeterminate and 80 days. And so those are my primary canning varieties that I'm going to be starting this year. So I'm going to continue on with my planting day. I hope you're having a great Sunday and a very happy spring equinox. Happy Ostara. Hope you are able to get outside and enjoy this first day of spring. Have a great week ahead, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again real soon. So until next time, take care.